Hello, everyone. My name is Darnisha Sherles, and I have chosen Justice for All for the film for this. Justice for All is a film that's pretty much about everything that's going on as far as African Americans and police brutality. And it goes into little details with some of the actors and people that they choose to do interviews on about the different points of views that they have on what's going on pertaining to that. Some differences that I seen between Winter's Bone and Justice for All. Winter's Bone actually used a star actress in that film, and it's more of a narrative film. Also, the camera angles, they used many different camera angles from long shots to close ups, and it just depended on the different scenes that were in that particular film in Winter's Bone. Um, Different lighting that matched each scene. For instance, one of the particular scenes that stood out to me when it came to lighting is when they were actually driving down the road with her uncle and they got pulled over by the police. In this scene, you could see that it was low lighting, um, and it was using long shots to let you know, the police was behind them, and then close-ups to let them know how, or let the viewers know how they were reacting to what was going on. So it kept go switching back and forth, and there was a lot of natural light and outside in Winter's Bone. Um, a lot of scenes were outside. So that's where the natural light in Winter's Bone came from. And then Justice for All, the difference between that from Winter's Bone would be they used real people. So this was more of an interview setting. They were asking questions and everything, which also would be like a documentary. So real life stuff, things that are really happening and an issue that they're addressing and asking questions to different people in this particular film. The camera angles in this one consist of mainly interviews, which were medium shots and long shots. The medium shots were just a couple of the scenes where they would show, the police, a couple shots of them beating on African Americans, having different encounters with the police and African Americans. And the lighting on it was they used backlight and low key lighting. So during the interviews, I would say they used backlight when they were interviewing everyone. And then for the different scenes that they were bringing up when it came to um, different engagements with the police and African Americans, they used low key lighting. This was more like a nighttime setting, so it was low key lighting that was used in those scenes. The similarities that I did point out is location. So Winter's Bone and Just for All, they both are set in real life settings in the mountains. Um, and you can definitely tell in both scenes, I automatically seen when it first started that it had the mountain view for both of them. They both used ambient sound to help get a feel for the area. So when Winter's Bone first started off, you could tell the area by the music and everything they were doing. The sounds were giving you that feel of the area. And the same thing with Justice for All. Um, you would hear, birds and different things in the back that will give you the feel for the area, that mountain area. Um, they use cutting in order to keep the viewer's attention or to show a particular scene. So they would use, for instance, in Winter's Bone, they changed different scenes quite a bit, just to, I guess, to keep the viewer's attention. And the same thing in Justice for All. When they were giving interviews, they would switch from, asking questions to the person they were interviewing and then to a scene that they were speaking about. So it just, that way it kept everybody's attention that was viewing. They both use close-up shots and moving shots. So again, in Justice for All, it was close-up would have been the interviews, and in Winter's Bone, it would have been those scenes where they were particularly trying to give the attention to someone to explain what was going on in the particular scene. And moving shots. They both had moving shots, and that was, different people driving down the road and Justice for All. And then, of course, like I said, in Winter's Bone, when they were driving down the road as well in one of the scenes. Both had speakers with Appalachian accents. You can definitely tell where they were from in both scenes. They just had that, Appalachian accent in both films. The subject matter of both are real issues. So Winter's Bone was more of a drug issue that was behind that particular film, and then the Justice for All was about the issue between police brutality with African Americans. So they're both real life issues that people experience every day. Justice for All, the positives, I found the characters to be very interesting, and they had quick cuts that kept my attention. Like I said, the little scenes where they would show the police interacting with African Americans. Ambient sounds such as police sirens and nature added to the feel of the region. During Justice for All, they did have the police sirens, and like I said, nature, you could hear the birds and stuff when they were showing little scenes in the mountains. And it is an issue that the world is currently in the process of changing. So I like the fact that they had different viewpoints and opinions, just from not African Americans, but they also had it from, people that weren't African American, just to give their point of view. And they explained, why they viewed it the way they did. And yeah, it was different opinions. So it was interesting to hear different people's point of view. One thing that I would change, I probably would actually include law enforcement to give their point of view as well on the issues, that it would be possible to get both viewpoints for the viewers. Just because I feel like, they did allow African American to give their point of view in the actual film. So also would allow, a police or someone from the police side to actually give their point of view as well to what was going on in the film. Appalachia. Winter's Bone, people were more rugged. Locations were rural. You can definitely tell it was a rural area, and that the people didn't have a lot of money in the area as well. Almost seemed like a Wild West type of feeling. Actors spoke poor English. Story revolves around actors who were functioning in the drug business and victims of poverty, which is accurate. Justice for All participants were well-spoken. Participants were well-dressed. Participants were also victims of the mistreatment of some law enforcement due to being African American, and there were also participants that had witnessed it or have researched the issue. So there were some people that were interviewing that were not African American, but they at first did not agree, with the Black Lives Matter organization thing or the term. But later on, they said they did their research and they came to a more understanding of why the African American community was actually saying Black Lives Matter. So then they were able to, agree with what was going on. Was this a success or bust? I believe that the film was compelling and a success. I really enjoyed the film and felt like the issue regarding Black Lives Matter was very compelling and educational, um, because it provided viewpoints from other people that were also not African American as well. So I feel like one of the biggest issues in the world today is us having poor communication, not understanding. So being able to, take one thing and say this is not the meaning that we're saying, and someone else seeing what we are saying, and not having to deal with what African Americans are dealing with, and putting in the terms and understanding it so that they communicate that to the rest of the world was a good thing for me. And that is it. Thank you all so much.